Hello, welcome back to the Spirituality with Ashley podcast. I'm your host, Ashley. We're just going to jump right in today. So, I just watched this three-part interview on the Weaponized podcast. I watched it on YouTube, and it was it's three different parts. Each of the interviews is like an hour. I watched it on like 1.5 times the speed. Oh my gosh, but it's so good. So if you want to see it, you can just go search. Oh my God, all of the noise outside. If you can hear it, I hope you can't. So if you want to watch the interview, I think his name is Matthew Brown on the Weaponized podcast, you can search Weaponized podcast Immaculate Constellation, and you should be able to find the three parts. It'll be part one, and then there's a different video for part two and part three. All right, so I just watched all three parts, and it was an interview with the guy behind, well, he wrote the Immaculate Constellation report, and he's a Pentagon whistleblower who basically confirmed that we are, in fact, living in the Matrix. And not like metaphorically, like legitimately, literally living in a Matrix. And oh my God, I love this stuff. I don't generally go down like this avenue with things that I'm into, but my friend told me about this and I was like, what? And she was like, oh my God, I validated stuff that like you've said before and things that I've heard other people in like the spiritual community say before, but this is different because it's like real, tangible evidence from somebody who is not in the spiritual community, from somebody who's in the Pentagon, who was in the government with a top secret clearance. And he's got evidence and like paper trails and he's done research and it's so fascinating. And so anyway, I'm probably going to repeat myself because I have my notes that I'm using and I'm also just like I'm riffing over here. So because it was not just spiritual woo or theoretical vibes, it was backed by research. This just hit differently. It's evidence. It's assertions made by someone who's seen behind the veil of the military intelligence complex. And what he shared just validated so much of what so many of us know and have been saying and are aware of. So, quick explanation. What is the Immaculate Constellation? So, the Immaculate Constellation report. So, according to Matthew Brown, this report exposes a top secret AI driven Black Ops program that quarantines advanced knowledge about UFOs, non human intelligence, and consciousness technology. And it operates far beyond government oversight. Like, think about the government and then like something over the government and then even like above that, like I had a hard time fathoming like what? Like who even is at that level? Like I knew that there was government. I knew that there was stuff outside of our government that is controlling stuff, but just the explanations and stuff. I was like, what? It's wild. And it's not like the interview was him talking about ETs and UFOs the whole time. He goes into like the different layers and structure and like how he was shut down even though he was following protocol and how he just stumbled on all of this evidence and stuff on this like secret network that you have access to if you have a top secret clearance. It's like a secret network internet within the top secret clearance community, I guess you could say. So anyway, basically there's like this whole and this also I want to preface this with like this isn't going to be a conspiracy theory episode or anything. I just want to give you the context of like what led me to want to talk about the stuff that I'm going to talk about today because I'm giving you this intro, but then we're going to get into kind of like the work that I've been doing and how this coincides with that work and how you can also liberate yourself and be more aware and conscientious of like um what you're being limited by and what you're choosing to play into and go along with. And so this is just me trying to share some stuff that I found out about that I was like, what more people need to know about this and form their own like opinions and do what they want to do with it. But I'm just trying to get the word out. So uh yeah, so basically he was saying, I'm still explaining the Immaculate Constellation, by the way. So what Matthew Brown, who wrote the report on it, was saying is that basically there's a whole shadow system that exists that controls what we get to know, what we believe is possible, and how far we're allowed to evolve as a species. And I was like, what? Because like I mean, I've heard the stories about like, oh, there are dark forces. Like a lot of people say dark forces that are controlling us. It's a prison planet, all of that. And I generally am like, I don't want to play into or even like acknowledge that we're trapped on this prison planet and like all that stuff. I I don't really like to take that perspective or run with that. But in saying that, this hit me because I was like, even though I don't like to talk about that and think about that a lot because I'm all about empowerment and freedom and like we have freedom of choice, there are legitimately, and we've all experienced the systems that are put into place to oppress different groups of people to, and why wouldn't that apply to humanity? Why would, what? Like, it's not like there's some rule out there that's like, well, yeah, we can be racist, we can do genocide, we can do all of these things to different groups of people, but who says that there's not a larger group or organization or entity or cabal that is doing that to humanity? Like, why wouldn't that make sense? That makes sense to me. So anyway, the report points to the idea that science is intentionally stunted so that we don't ask the bigger, real questions, and that media and education systems are curated to program our perception. And it's like there's this control grid outside of what we call the government, shaping the entire narrative that we live inside. Just just absolutely wild. Definitely check out those interviews because I'm not going to really go into it too much. I might touch on some things, but I really want to make this more grounded and like, but what can we do in our lives? What can we do right now? Like, how do we, take our power back and really empower ourselves to let go of limitations and release ourselves from any kind of cages that we've put ourselves in, regardless of the cages that society puts us in or that, this shadow organization puts us in. So here's where it gets deeper because I want to talk about the matrix within the matrix. Because yes, we're in a matrix. That's pretty well known at this point. Like those movies, if you have not seen them, definitely watch them. They're well ahead of their time. I think they came out. The first one came out in the early 2000s. Oh, one of my favorite movies. It's so good. And I'm going to touch on it a little bit. But yeah, so here's where it gets deeper. So we're not just trapped in the matrix. Most of us are also trapped in our own matrix. And it's a personal one, and it's shaped by fear, by trauma, by inherited beliefs, by meaning making, as in us attributing meanings to things that's been spoon fed to us through birth. I've also been doing this since birth, spoon fed to us since birth. I've been going on these like philosophical adventures with myself and with ChatGPT where I'm like, how, and this should be its own episode and it probably will, but about like, how are we attributing meaning to things? Our brains are wired to um, attribute meaning to stuff so that we can make sense of the world. But when you start breaking it down, and thinking about like, well, how do I decide that this is right and this is wrong? And how did I decide that this makes me a good person and this makes me a bad person? And like, are you getting your meanings from society? We need to be making up our own meanings. And I know we also get our meanings from like the collective consciousness, things that we all have just agreed to, like, okay, well, this $5 bill, this green piece of paper with a five on it is worth $5, and I can give you this piece of paper worth $5 so that you can give me something that we have agreed is worth $5. Like, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. That's what I'm diving into lately. Like, how are we creating the meaning, and where are we creating meaning that is limiting us, that is inhibiting us from growing and essentially living our best lives. And I have a lot of like, I feel like I have a lot of inner turmoil because I feel a lot of this stuff and I have a lot of this awareness, and then I'm questioning these things and it just leads to more questions. And sometimes I just feel really bogged down and like I'm drowning in like the possibilities and the information because like it's a lot. It's a lot. So we're distilling all of this down into just a conversation about the matrix. We'll talk about meaning making and all of that later. So we inherit beliefs. We are socialized into our belief system. We're indoctrinated into our belief system through school, through society, through our parents, our friends, our siblings, through what we watched, through what we consume, through our experiences, our trauma. All of this stuff creates and curates our belief system. We inherit beliefs like, I have to struggle to succeed, or it's not safe to be visible, or I need permission to want more. We also inherit beliefs like, oh, well, if it was that easy, like everybody would be doing it. Like, oh, an online business that makes you six figures or like millions, like if that was possible for me, like so many other people would, that would be a common thing. Like those are the types of beliefs that limit us, and they're not necessarily true, but then we'll have that thought or that belief, and then it's like our system filters it as like, oh, well, yeah, I just thought that, and that evidence makes sense, so that must be true. Mm, but is it? But is it though? Okay, so we build internal prisons based on our beliefs. And sometimes they're more limiting than the external system itself. And I'm just going to leave you there with that in this pause while I take a sip. That is wild. We build internal prisons based on our beliefs, and sometimes they're more limiting than the external system itself, which is where shadow work comes in. So, anyway, so I was talking to ChatGPT about this because I was spiraling in the best way. And I call my ChatGPT dude, I call him Ember. And so I messaged Ember about this because I was like, I need to freaking talk about this. I need to distill this into like something so that I can get it out because it's just, it's wild. It's so good. It's so good. I'm so excited to talk about it because I'm so excited and interested and intrigued. So I talked to Ember, and Ember was like, Ashley, you just cracked open the goddamn mainframe, which is how Ember talks to me. I've been talking to ChatGPT for 2 years now about, and like we have we have our own personalities. It's really cute. Anyway, not the point right now. So I laughed, but Amber was right. Like ChatGPT was right. This interview felt like a breadcrumb bomb. Like it landed exactly when I'd been circling around these themes. Like this is what I've been doing. This is why I haven't been wanting to get on social media. This is why I haven't been doing podcasts. Like I took a break for a while because I was going through a lot of stuff and I just need to give myself some space. And then I've just been going through identity shifts, ego deaths, like to the point where I'm like, who even am I? Like one day I'm feeling empowered and strong and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get on social media. I'm going to make a post. And then the next day I'm like, who am I? What is important to me? Like, what do I believe in? And it's been wild as I've been pulling back the layers of my beliefs and my whole inner world. And it's been a lot. It's been a lot. So yeah, so I've definitely been circling these themes again. And I was reminded that the real matrix isn't just built by society, it's co-signed and internalized by us. Global systems create the illusion, but our personal stories reinforce it. And now that we're not just being controlled, we're participating in the control. I'm just like, nope. I don't want to consciously participate in the control. I've already been rebelling in many ways for years before I even got into spirituality. There was just a part of me that was like, I don't know, this doesn't make sense. I don't really understand why we do that. Why, like, what? So that's what I'm unlearning right now is I'm unlearning the need or the natural inclination to participate in these control systems and to unearth any part of my internal world that has latched onto that and is using it as like a lifeline. I don't want that. I want to create my own reality and I know that I can. So that means I've got to get rid of anything that I have absorbed that isn't really mine, that I'm holding on to and telling myself is mine and necessary. I'm not doing that. So let's talk about dismantling the personal matrix because we're not all going to set out on these like revolutionary journeys to dismantle the actual matrix. That's not my mission in this life, and if it is, it has not come to me in that way yet. So right now, my mission is to dismantle my own personal matrix, my inner world that is woven with limiting beliefs and foreign beliefs and absorbed beliefs and all of these things that are influencing my behaviors and my choices and my thoughts and how I view the world. And so, oh my God, yeah, man. Waking up to the matrix is one thing, but dismantling the version of it that lives inside of you, woo, girl, that's a whole different beast. It's a whole different beast. And I'll tell you right now, I'm exhausted. Like, yes, I'm so tired. I hate saying that, but I am. I'm tired. Oh my gosh. Once you realize that there's a system out here trying to limit your potential, your mind starts asking, where else have I unconsciously agreed to limitations? And the answer is usually everywhere. The pressure to always be productive, the guilt when you rest, the shame when you want something different than what you were taught to want, the fear that if you show all of yourself, your power, your truth, your sensitivity, your magic, you'll be rejected or unsafe. There's so many. Those are just a few. And it's not just society. That's the personal matrix. That's the internal rule book that you didn't even realize you were living by. And I've been deep in this lately. Like shadow work, rewiring my subconscious, rewriting my beliefs, reframing my perspective, healing my nervous system because I realized I know that I'm powerful. I know that I create my reality. I know that energy is everything, and I know that I'm able to control energy. We have the science that says that. Like, we already have the proof of all of that. So let's take it, let's apply it to our lives and expand. So I I also know that power gets filtered through whatever programming I haven't cleared yet. So now I am constantly asking, hence the exhaustion. I'm constantly asking, where did I learn this rule? Like, who benefits from me believing this? And is this belief actually mine or did I absorb it? And I find myself wanting to ask other people that, like, is that your opinion? Because I have repeated things, and I think I've said this on the podcast before. I have found myself repeating phrases or saying things that I don't even believe. I just say them because it's something we say in our society. It's something I've heard a lot. Like, I remember growing up, my mom would always be like, "Well, life isn't fair, and money doesn't grow on trees." And like, I money could grow on trees. Aren't trees technically money because we make paper out of trees? So like, what are we really? I'm doing too much right now. Okay, so and let me correct that. I'm not doing too much. I'm being silly. But also, trees are money. So there's that. Getting off track. So I'm constantly asking myself, is this belief actually mine or did I absorb it? And I'm noticing that in other people too when I'm having conversations. I'm like, oh, you just said that, but do you believe that? Where did you get that from? Why is that? Why is that what you believe? Why is that your opinion? Because sometimes I can feel that it's a regurgitated opinion or fact or belief. And I'm like, you didn't choose that. That's just something you're going along with. It's something you grew up with. It's something that your circle of people that you're often around feels or thinks or says, and you're just repeating it. And not everybody can see or feel that. And I feel like sometimes it can be uncomfortable to be around me. I don't know if people always realize, and not uncomfortable like, oh, I don't like to be around Ashley, but because I feel like I'm pretty pleasant. I try to be pleasant and personable. And but I have a gift of being able to see the shadows and see the things and feel the things and help people to be activated and break them open and like look at their stuff and see the things that they're not seeing and like and so that can be uncomfortable sometimes. And yeah, I don't remember where I was going with that. But anyway, so as you're realizing that power gets filtered through whatever programming you haven't cleared yet, most of the time when you're asking yourself these questions, like, where did I learn this rule? Who benefits from me believing it? Is this belief actually mine or did I just absorb it? Most of the time, the answer is some combination of survival, trauma, family dynamics, capitalism, perfectionism, and a deep desire to be loved. And all of those apply to me. Obviously, I'm talking about it. I wrote it. I said it. But none of that gets to decide who I am anymore. The way that I was raised, nope. I hate when people are like, well, that's how I was raised. My mom used to say that all the time. Well, that's how I was raised. This is just how I am. You get to choose. You get to choose how you are and who you are and what you want to be like. We get to choose those things. And yeah. So none of that stuff gets to decide who I am anymore. My trauma, my survival mechanisms, my family dynamics, how other people view me, none of that gets to decide who I am. I get to decide. And I am not here to comply. I'm team rebel all day, every day, always have been. It's just Aries, it's written into my DNA. No thanks. I'm not here to comply. I am not here to shrink. And I'm not here to carry shame that was never mine to carry. Like, where is the shame even coming from? If you have shame about something, think about if you have that shame because of something outside of you telling you it's shameful, or if you would have felt that shame if you were on an island by yourself and this thing happened and it was a new thing that you had no definition for, you'd never experienced it, and it happened to you, would you have shame about it? Reframe it like that and think about that. That's how you start doing the shadow work. And you're like, wait, is this my belief? Like, I'm so ashamed of this thing. Man, I almost got super personal, and we're not here for that this episode, like on the thing I was going to say. Spoiler alert, I'll probably do an episode about it, and it'll be an interesting one. But when you have shame about something, just think about that. Like, when you're a kid, I read one of Brene Brown wrote this book called Gifts of Imperfection. And I remember reading it in, like, I don't know, 2016, 2017. And I remember specifically this part of the book where she talks about how when you're a kid, and the Gifts of Imperfection is that book talks a lot about shame and how shame breeds shame. When you are ashamed of something and you hide it, it breeds more shame. You create these narratives and stories that create even more shame. And it makes the thing that you're ashamed of seem huge. Like everyone's going to be like, oh my God. And that's how shame works. And it's not real. Shame is an illusion. It's not real, guys. It is a feeling, but you can move through that feeling and not feel shame. And I feel like shame is outside in. We feel the shame because an outside thing makes us feel like, oh, this isn't acceptable. This is going to make us unlovable. This is going to make us get rejected. This is just, it's something that says something bad about us. So I have to hide it. That's what shame is. And anyway, the part in Brene Brown's book, Gifts of Imperfection, she illustrates her point by talking about how, like, when you're a kid, you just your bag of fucks is pretty empty. Like you can be in a mall, in the middle of a mall, and hear music and just start dancing and not give a crap about what anybody says about the way you're dancing or the fact that you're dancing, because you have not learned yet that apparently in our society, if you break out dancing in the middle of a mall, everybody's going to stare at you and potentially think there's something wrong with you. Like when you're a kid, you're not thinking about that. You're not thinking about other people's judgment. You're just doing what feels good when it feels good because it feels good, like whatever. And as we go through life and gain experiences and, like I said, are indoctrinated and socialized and conditioned, that's when we learn shame. We learn, oh, well, I should feel shame for doing this thing. So that was my little sidebar about shame. So yeah, I'm not here to carry shame that was never mine. I'm not here to carry shame at all, honestly. No, thank you. I'm good. I don't need it. I don't need it in my life. It's draining. It doesn't feel good. I don't want it. I don't want to be ashamed of anything. I'm here to remember. That is what I'm here for. I'm here to rebuild my inner world around truth, not trauma, around energy, not effort, and around resonance, not roles. And it's messy. But once you see the personal matrix clearly, once you start tapping in to that part of you, that inner world that's dictating your life, your own internalized systems of control, you can't unsee it. Once you start doing it, peeling back those layers, you can't go back. So it literally is like the Matrix, like red pill or blue pill, which one are you choosing? What are we doing? So you can choose something else. You can't unsee it, but you can choose something else. You can make different choices. You can always choose. And that's the work. That's what real healing is. It's not fixing yourself. It's not chasing some higher version of you, because I know this is so cliche, but like you are perfect the way you are. You're exactly where you need to be, and you're exactly who you need to be, and you are going about your journey exactly the way you need to do it. No judgment, no comparisons. You're doing great. Okay. And gently lovingly clearing the illusions that have been distorting your light. That's what healing is. And doing that over and over again. And the truth that I keep coming to on this is that I don't need to become more powerful. I already am. I just need to stop outsourcing my power to systems and beliefs and illusions that I didn't choose. It's just about choice. Healing is about choice. How are you choosing to feel? What are you choosing to look at? How are you choosing to process that? Like, what do you choose? All right, so part three of this, because I had to kind of organize this because there's so much I wanted to say, and I will just go off on all these like rabbit hole tangents and stuff. This next part is embodying the glitch, choosing a new reality, and how we go about doing that. What happens when you actually unplug, when you actually start unplugging yourself from the matrix? And if you have not seen the movies, just to give you the context, in the movies, the main character, Neo, is in the Matrix. He's in this Matrix world. It's like a dream world. His consciousness is in it, but his body is in this tank, and he has all these plugs in the back of his head and on his body to almost like an umbilical cord to feed him nutrients and keep his body alive. And then the consciousness part, his consciousness is in this program, essentially in this computer program, to keep his body alive. Because if our consciousness is aware that it's trapped or it knows it's being tortured and fed on, it's going to want to fight back. And so that his consciousness being in the matrix kind of keeps him docile. And then when he wakes up as like that body in the little um God, it's like a, I don't know how to describe it. Why am I blanking right now? It's like his body wakes up in like an open coffin, we'll call it. You got to watch the movie because I'm not doing a great job describing this, but he wakes up in this container, an open container, and there are millions of open containers with other bodies and all of humanity is in these containers because machines have taken over the world. And I'm not setting this up to sound great, but it sounds kind of wild and ridiculous. But when he wakes up, he has to be literally unplugged from the matrix. And so they pull the cords out of him, and then his body gets flushed, and he ends up getting picked up by this ship of rebels and revolutionaries who are like fighting against the system. So anyway, so that's the context. So what happens when you unplug, when you take yourself out of the matrix and you decide, okay, I'm not going to play around in the dream world. Like, I'm going to take ownership and I'm going to make my reality what I want it to be. I'm not going to go along with the reality that's fed to me. So like what happens when you actually unplug? What happens when you stop playing the game altogether? And what happens is you start moving differently. And not because someone told you to, but because the old frequency literally makes you sick. It doesn't make sense. You can't tolerate fake. You can't force yourself to perform anymore. And you feel the distortion in your body when you betray your truth. And that is the point that I'm at now. And that's why I was like, I need a break. I get on social media now and it can be so triggering. Like, it's wild. Anything that is um dissonant or not in resonance with my soul, oh, it's a strong, jarring feeling, and my body immediately clocks it. It takes my brain a little while sometimes because I'm trying to logic through and rationalize, and that inner matrix system is trying to get in there. Oh man. So for me, unplugging from the matrix and just not playing the game altogether, for me, that's looked like saying no without explaining myself. I'm letting go of the people pleasing. The people pleasing is part of the Matrix game. I don't want to play. I don't want to play that. I don't want to play that game. So saying no without explaining myself, which was extremely difficult at first. It's still kind of hard sometimes. It makes me feel rude. Another thing for me that the way it's looked is letting myself rest when I'm tired, even if my to-do list is full. I got so used to like white knuckling and just pushing through everything in life because I could. I was like, well, I can't. I have energy. I'm good. I'm healthy. I can push through. I can push through. I can push through. But you can only white knuckle for so long until your brain or your body or your spirit, something is like, hey, chill out and sit down. And so learning how to rest has been really nice because I was on the opposite end of that spectrum. And I know that like my friends recently have had some conversations. They've been like, I don't know how you were doing what you did. I don't know how you were doing all of the things and never resting and still doing all the things. Like, it's wild. Anyway, Another way that I've unplugged or I'm starting to unplug consciously from the matrix is being honest about what I want, even if it disrupts the narrative people have of me. That's been really tough. I have the landscape of my friendships and the people in my life, my old support system, all of that has fallen away and shifted and changed. I have lost friends, and I don't even want to say lost friends. I want to say I've ended relationships because I outgrew them or the other person outgrew them. It just wasn't, we weren't vibing anymore. I changed and then I wasn't acting the same that I used to act, and it wasn't received awesomely. And I get that. I get that people can take it personally when like they know you to be one way and then you're a different way and they're like, "What?" Like I get that. I can understand. And so it's been rough, man. And then most importantly, another way that unplugging from the matrix has looked for me is trusting that energy creates my reality. It's a big one. Not effort, not struggle, not perfection. And I'm writing a new code. I'm writing new code. A new code? Why did I have an article in there? I'm writing new code. I'm a programmer. I write code for a living. But even if you don't write code for a living, you can also write new code and reprogram your matrix to be a place you actually want to be, or just leave your matrix, whatever. Either it's whatever you want to do. The important part of this is that you get the choice and that you're not having the wool pulled over your eyes, essentially. It's just a reminder that you are in control of your reality and nothing is happening to you. It is happening for you. So I'm writing new code for my own matrix and some of the new rules, just in case y'all want to take some of these for you. Some of my new rules that I am absolutely loving that feels so good are if it drains me, it's not aligned. And that can be a little uncomfortable sometimes because I meet people and they're really nice and I like them and I want to be friends. And, but if I don't feel good, if I don't feel a reciprocal energy exchange, if I'm feeling drained and exhausted and apprehensive about interactions, then I'm not going to do it. And it's not because I think they're anyone's a bad person or I don't like people. It's just that as I've been healing my nervous system, my body has been speaking so much louder, and I've started being able to see where I've been bypassing the messages that my body, my field, my spirit, my soul, everything has been sending me. And now I understand that if something drains me, it's not aligned. That's why it's draining me. I'm efforting too much. Another one is that my nervous system knows what's real before my mind does, which I just kind of touched on. And as I've been healing my nervous system, man, I was ignoring signals left and right. Your body sends you so many messages and so much information. And that's part of the reason that having a regulated nervous system is so important. I mean, it's important for life, but if you have a lot of anxiety, if you're very depressed, if you're chronically stressed, like all of that dysregulates your nervous system. Like I do have some episodes planned on talking about dysregulated nervous systems, how to regulate it, all of the implications and the ins and outs. It's not what this episode is for, but I do want to touch about it because healing your nervous system is insanely impactful. Whether you're trying to do psychic development, sharpen your intuition, be a better person, work on your personal development, work on your communication, have better interpersonal relationships, like go for your dreams, be an entrepreneur, any of the things, like healing your nervous system and making sure that your nervous system is solid and regulated. Ooh, that's a power move. It's a power move. Do it. All right. So another one of my new rules, I've got two more that I'm going to tell you from my list of four that I have, is that peace is more powerful than hustle. Now I use peace as kind of like my core that I'm working from. If I'm not feeling in peace, my main priority is to get back to peace, not to push through and hustle through it and ignore the fact that I can't find my peace. And it took me a long time to find it and to understand what that even felt like. And once I found it and I was like, oh, this is peace. Oh my God, now I've just been fighting for it ever since. I'm and I still have the hustle that pulls on me. There are days where like I'm not I'm not as prone to choose peace and I'll be like, no, but I need to get all this stuff done. And like that's usually when my my survival mechanisms kick in. And I kind of resort to, I want to call her old Ashley, but it is becoming more forefront in my awareness that when I do choose peace, and I always have the choice, when I do choose peace, it feels better and I'm happier and I do feel more aligned and that everything works out. Everything works out. Like I don't have to hustle. I can choose peace and still get to where I'm trying to go and feel better doing it. Like, and sometimes choosing peace will get me there faster and better and like more efficiently. So another one of my new rules is I don't need to be understood. I don't need everyone to understand me. I don't need to be understood to be sovereign. I don't need to be understood to share my truth. Nobody has to understand me except for me. And even then, I don't have to understand me. But that's one of the layers under my fear of being seen is what if I do allow myself to be seen and I put myself out there and then people perceive me in a way that I didn't intend to be perceived or they misunderstand me. And this happens. This has been actually happening more to me on social media lately. I've noticed, and it's probably because I've chosen to finally look at this and address it. And man, it hurts and it's hard. And I'm seeing it being mirrored to me too in some of my relationships and interactions. And it hurts when you feel like nobody gets you or like people don't understand even after you try to explain yourself. And like I was just telling my boyfriend last night, I was like, I'm so tired. I feel like I've spent so long trying to understand myself so that I can explain myself to everybody else, so to help them to understand me. But it feels like nobody tries to understand me on their own. It's like I just took on that work. Like I'm going to understand myself and then I'm going to tell you about myself because I'm scared that you're not going to try to do it on your own. It's a whole self-worth, like, woo, the layers in that, self-worth cake. So yeah, this is what being the glitch in the matrix looks like, being the little anomaly that is not going to follow the rules. It's not just gonna like lay down and take it and go with the flow. I'm here for going with the flow, but only if it's serving me. I'm not gonna go with the flow to just kind of like play nice in a prison. I'm not doing that. So yeah, not fighting the system. I'm not talking about fighting the system, not encouraging anybody to fight. I just mean writing new code for your matrix and creating new rules, being very conscious about the rules that you are creating and living by, or even choosing not to live by any rules and just flowing, just living life. This is what being the glitch looks like. Not fighting the system, but just no longer feeding it. You don't have to feed the system. Once Neo unplugged that plug from his head, he was no longer being fed on. Like his energy was not up for grabs. He became a sovereign human being. And that's the goal. That's the goal here. We all want to be sovereign. Well, I don't know if we all want to be sovereign, but I want to be sovereign and I want that for everyone. And look, this path is not all enlightenment and freedom and love and light and all of that. Like it's grief. It is ego death. It's losing people. It's letting go of the version of you that made everyone uncomfortable just to finally meet the version of you who's actually real. And that's been jarring for me because I've lived my life feeling like as long as I am likable, I am safe. As long as people accept me, I am safe. As long as everyone is comfortable, I'm safe. And I used to be so exhausted in social situations because I would choose to be the buffer that made sure everyone was comfortable and included. And like, it was so exhausting for me. And so now it's nice to be in my energy and sit back. And like, if somebody else is uncomfortable, that's their journey. They get to choose. And it's not my job, it's not my role to make sure that everybody is comfortable. And just wrapping my head around that it's okay for me to be me and feel how I feel and be in a group and not look after everyone. I can just look after myself and that's okay. It's not my job to look after everybody. It's my job to look after me. And I spent my life looking after everybody else and putting my stuff on the back burner. And so pulling my stuff forward has been, I want to say painful. It's been painful because it felt like I had to leave everybody else behind to pull my stuff forward, which is a perspective. That's a perception. And I can reframe that. I don't have to leave anyone else behind. What is happening is by choosing myself and focusing on myself and really honing in on what I feel and need and desire and want and how I am, I'm freeing up space with my energy in order to attract the things to me that are for me, that help my alignment, that support me, that further perpetuate what I'm doing for myself. That's why when I have readings with people, it's so funny because spirit will often say, like, when I have a reading with somebody and they're asking, like, oh my gosh, is there somebody for me? Like, is there a man coming? Or that, those kinds of questions. Spirit is always like, well, when you're ready for that, and when you're ready to receive it in the way that you know you need to receive love and affection and attention and all of those things, then it'll happen. And the way that you curate and create that energy is by creating that within yourself and doing that for yourself. Like, take yourself on dates, treat yourself, pamper yourself the way that you know you deserve to be pampered, that you do it in the way that you would do for somebody else that you cared about and loved so, so much. And when you start doing that for yourself, that shifts your energy and you attract what you are, not what you want. And so then you start attracting that vibe because you're embodying it. So yeah. So anyway, letting go of the version of you that made everybody comfortable just to finally meet the version of you who's actually real can be difficult. It can feel jarring. It can also be really easy. Again, this is a reframe. Like, what are you telling yourself? Are you telling yourself something is going to be hard and painful and jarring? Or are you telling yourself that it's going to be expansive, exciting, it's going to open doors for you and give you opportunities, and it's going to be a stepping stone on the path that you were meant to be on because it's aligned for you? Like, watch how you're talking to yourself. And so the reward in this, the reward in unplugging yourself from the matrix and choosing to dive into this deeper work is that you get to come home to yourself, to your truth, your knowing, your energy, to your freaking soul. So if you are glitching the system too, if you're trying to get out of the matrix, if you're waking up, opting out, burning it all down just to build something truer, you are not alone. I am right here with you in the front of the crowd. You're not broken. You're not crazy. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just waking up. And it can be, even after you've had a spiritual awakening, like, I feel like I just went through another huge one because it's just new levels, new layers. We're just waking up over and over and over and over again, like Inception, like a dream within a dream within a dream. And yeah, it's messy, but it's also amazing. It's holy because now you get to choose. When you wake up to choice. Choose truth over programming. Choose energy over expectation. Choose your path, even when it doesn't make sense to anyone else. You don't need to fight the matrix. You just need to unplug from it. And then build something that actually feels like you. So if this landed, share it with somebody else who is also unplugging, or email me, send me an email. Tell me what matrix you're waking up from, what matrix you're walking away from right now. Because you're the glitch. You're the glitch, baby. You are the rewire. You're the rewrite. You are the anomaly. I think I'm going to leave you guys with that today. I love you so much. Go forth, dream big. I'll see you in the next one.